didn't even wait for the investigation to be completed. There has been no crime committed, so why is there a criminal investigation 3 weeks prior to a very important election? What is going on? Who's feeling this hysteria? I would be doing a disservice for myself and the people of this community if I were to quit. A recent survey conducted by Public Opinion Strategy found that I'm neck and neck with my opponent, Ms. Sanchez. However, amongst voters who are 100% sure that they would be casting a ballot, I'm leading her by far, 13%. We have tremendous support from the people of this district because we have bonded with them for the last 2 years. We have listened to their concerns and we've been telling them like it is. Even when it comes to issues like illegal immigration, border security, the war in Iraq, political corruption, taking care of our elders, and keeping jobs here in America. I've always told like it is, and that's what I'm doing today. There is no crime committed, no hate crime, and no love crime. The whole hysteria and nonsense about there being a crime, it's just a big fat lie. And those who are fueling this hysteria should be ashamed of themselves. So, if there's no crime committed, why is there an expedited criminal investigation by the State Attorney General 3 weeks prior to an election? What's the rush? What's going on here? Who's behind this thing? Why has no one stood up and say, the emperor's got no clothes? But you know what? I'm going to do that today. I've learned that the letter in question was the Spanish translation of a letter in English, urging green card holders and illegal immigrants to not vote. What is wrong with that? My political attorney, William Branham, he will address the letter to you, and then you can be the judge. You can be the judge whether there's a crime that's been committed, whether there's been hate crime. So then why, if there's no crime committed, that there's an investigation going on 3 weeks prior to a very important election? What's going on? Who's feeling this hysteria? There is now some debate to what the Spanish translation really means, especially when it comes to the word immigrado. I took a long walk last night along the beach, and I met many Hispanics. I asked them about the word immigrado and what it means. I was very surprised to find out that it either means a person with a green card, or they are just here legally, but they're not a citizen. This is also a term that is used by the U.S. government's immigration services agents, who would ask those who cross our borders whether they are a citizen or an immigrado. A person who is here legally, but with only a green card. And all of us, you know, that if you're here legally and you only have a green card, you cannot vote. So if this term used by the United States government to describe green card holders, then who's feeding this hysteria? I don't speak Spanish, but you know what? You should ask my opponent, Ms. Sanchez. She speaks Spanish. Why is she feeling the hysteria? Why is she holding protests to try and lynch me? There's no crime committed.
Send the letter, sir.
My opponent, Ms. Sanchez, is not concerned with enforcing our immigration law. In fact, she has introduced legislation to prevent prospective voters to show valid ID before voting. She has even sponsored bills to give Social Security pensions to illegal immigrants in a time when we don't have money for our own retirees. So, you don't even have to be a rocket scientist to figure out that this would encourage more people to vote fraudulently. I'm appalled and surprised at the amount of hysteria that has been generated. Ms. Sanchez, who has been unavailable to defend her bizarre record, which includes refusing to condemn Hezbollah, a terrorist group that killed over 241 of the Marines in 1981, refusing to commend our soldiers who's fighting offshore, refusing to help our senior citizens get cheaper medicines and long-term care, has all of a sudden made herself very available. Look at what this has created. There's no crime committed, yet armed policemen have raided my office and my home, terrorizing my family and volunteers. They've interfered with my ability to run my campaign by taking away my computer, by taking away all the ways that I can contact with voters 3 weeks prior to an election. They even took away my campaign signs at my house. What is going on here? I believe my constitutional rights of free speech and the ability to campaign have been violated. I've asked my attorney for the political campaign, Bill Branham, to look into the substance of the letter. He's a former U.S. attorney, and he's volunteering his services. He will be making a brief statement.
Do you acknowledge that you sent out the letter?
I acknowledge
that you sent out the letter.
It's being interfered with. Why did they time their raid of my house, my office at the time, same time as my pre-announced press conference? What's going on?
Did you write the letter?
With the investigation. So what was the rush?
Do you acknowledge sending the letter?
Lastly, I'd like to issue an apology to my office manager who I had discharged earlier this week before I knew all of the facts. After my own investigation, I would like to invite her back to work the campaign. I made a mistake.
Why?
I, like many people this week, have made a snap judgment.
Hey, what do you think about Immigrado?
Her forwarding of the database without my permission was an error made, but with good intention.
Mr. Nguyen, did you
These
write
past
the
few
letter?
days have been hell for my family and myself. The only thing that has kept us going is the fact that we heard from many people in the community who have stood by us, prayed for us,